Hello everyone, welcome to Yamaguchi Japan Speaking Tube Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Issa. This is episode 83 or 83. I have taken two examinations today, which is the examination of their subject. One subject is which is on their sound, very general. Subject to deal with the very general knowledge of anything about sound. For example, their structure of ear, how to for humans, how to listen or hear their sound, how to recognize sound, or of course about their music and the old history of music, and also there's some scientific point of view. What is sound, and the sound is a kind of wave which is through their air. Of course, there is a lot of quantums or something, that kind of thing anyway. And there are kinds of every kinds of the wave of sound. I cannot explain English, of course. It's a very technical term. I have to use a very technical term which I don't know. And so the problem of noise in the city, for example, there babies or childs are crying, very noisy for some people, very annoying some people, but some of them are never mind, don't concerned about that kind of sound, or what is that difference or something. There is a very subjective matter. I don't like this sound, even if its sound is not so big. Or there another scale is how bigger the sound. There are 100 over 100 decibel of noise is very dangerous for people to live in, in the house especially, for that kind of thing. And the sound of community, for example, the very famous example is bells from the church, or bells from shrines or temples, which is in Edo period. There is 13 or 14 big bells in the Edo city, and which ringed every 2 hours, and that was named, that were named the bell of time. They told their time. What time is it now? So anyway. And the second subject today, I take the examination I took today is Latin language, which is a very, very difficult one. And the subject is for beginner. That is why that a beginner and more. The subject to declare the Latin. This subject is not for mastering Latin, but which is for learning about Latin. Latin language. The history of Latin and the pronunciation, maybe, of course, Romans are not alive here today. I mean, there are Romans living in 2,100 years ago, and there was no recorders, so which is very difficult. But there is some clue, which is some kind of poem must have some kind of rhythm and rhyme. So their professionals can a little bit about their how to pronounce that sound, maybe, and anyway, that subject contain the pronunciation, how pronounce this I. It is E or Y or something. It is very difficult to and in this case, this I is which or something, and their letter itself, for example, their I and the J is the same letter, a different font maybe. The medieval age, there are separated. There had been becoming separated. Too separate, I think. And of course, grammatical matters, and that kind of thing. All of them, but not difficult. They're basic ones. All of them are basic knowledge for learners of Latin language. It is suitable for beginners, but however, the examination was a little bit difficult for me. So the 50 minutes, the examination time was 50 minutes, and I used all 50 minutes, and to manage, I could manage to answer all of the questions, but I cannot see. I didn't see deeply every question. And the question is multiple language, and that is the test multiple language questions. There is 5 choices, and 3 of them were correct answer. So we have to choose all the threes. That was the style today's Latin language test examination. Okay. And recently it is very hot, and their place, their examination was held, is very cold, very chilly, and there's a big difference between outside and inside. It lead to my feeling for their temperature, very crazy. So it's a little bit tired. I have to admit it. And their examination, first examination there about the sound is AM. I mean anti-millennium. And the next one, the Latins, was started at 1755. So it is a very long time during the 2 tests. It was sorry. So I studied all of the time, Latin language. So it's a little bit. It was a very heavy time. Before taking examination, I was my concentration skill is already very and this a little bit exhausted, but I could do best. I could use all of my knowledge and concentration and power. So I'm now satisfied, although I don't know the results of the test. Okay, thank you for listening to Speaking Tube Radio. Have a nice day. Bye.